Hostinger can deploy n8n in a few clicks. The dangerous click comes first. Change OS rebuilds the VPS and deletes its current data and snapshot. And when the new dashboard opens, the job still is not finished. A production-ready instance needs 3 gates: deploy it, route it through HTTPS, then prove you can operate and recover it. Before opening hPanel, size the server for the work. Hostinger's current starting point is 1 vCPU, 2 GB of RAM, and 20 GB of SSD for learning or light automations. For production, its guidance starts around 2 to 4 vCPUs, 4 to 8 GB of RAM, and 40 to 80 GB of NVMe. Actual load wins, so monitor it. Pick a domain or subdomain now, and export anything you need from an existing VPS. Changing or reinstalling the OS permanently removes current server data and the current snapshot. Separately retained backups remain, but restoring one can also restore the old operating system. Do not continue until you accept that trade-off. In hPanel, open VPS, choose Manage, then OS and Panel, Operating System. Search for n8n under the Application Templates. Select Ubuntu 24.04 with n8n. The QMode template adds Redis and workers for higher volume systems. It is extra machinery that a first low-volume instance usually does not need. Click Change OS, stop on the deletion warning, and confirm only after your export or backup is safe. Set a unique root password, or use an SSH key where your setup supports it, without recording the secret. Wait for the rebuild to finish. The current template installs n8n in Docker, so preserve its Compose project instead of replacing it with an old one-line Docker run command. From Overview, use panel access and its login URL if that is what your hPanel shows. Hostinger also documents the default address as https://n8n followed by your VPS hostname. On first open, create the mandatory n8n owner account with a long, unique password. Current n8n does not use the old basic auth variables. That method was removed in version 1. Enable two-factor authentication. Then create a tiny workflow manual trigger into edit fields, set status to OK, and execute it. Finally request /health/readiness. HTTP 200 there means the database is connected and migrated, plain /health proves only that the process is reachable. For a custom address, point in a record such as n8n.example.com to the VPS, wait for DNS, and edit the existing template environment through the current Compose project or Compose Manager. Do not install a second Jinx or certificate stack on top. n8n recommends one reverse proxy that terminates TLS and renews the certificate. The mechanism matters. A browser reaches HTTPS on port 443. The proxy forwards privately to n8n on 5678. Set webhook_URL to the public HTTPS address, use n8n_proxy_hops equals 1 when there is one trusted proxy, and make sure the last proxy sends the forwarded for, host, and protocol headers. Set n8n_editor_base_URL when emails or redirects need the public editor address. Never add a public firewall rule for 5678. Now prove the data survives the container. In Compose Manager, or with Docker Compose config from the active project, confirm that n8n data and the database use named volumes or bind mounts. Do not print the result file on camera because it can contain secrets. The /home/node/.n8n directory must persist even with PostgreSQL. It holds the encryption key, logs, and other assets. A volume is not a backup. Hostinger says weekly VPS backups are enabled by default and retains up to 4 where applicable. Its manual snapshot is temporary, only one, it expires after 1 day, and an OS reinstall deletes it. Keep protected copies of the database and persistent n8n data, export workflows, and test to restore. Also review execution retention. n8n prunes by default after 14 days or 10,000 finished executions, whichever threshold triggers. For the firewall, allow HTTPS 443. Keep port 80 only when the redirect or certificate flow needs it. Restrict SSH22 to trusted source addresses where practical. Verify a second session before closing the first, and leave 5678 blocked. Hostinger's active firewall is default deny, so every needed port requires an except rule. Before an update, make a recoverable backup and read the n8n release notes.
The beginner path is Docker Compose Manager. Select the n8n project, open the menu, and choose Update. Over SSH, first locate the active Compose project. Hostinger's current pages show different directories, so do not guess. From the correct directory, run docker compose pull, docker compose down, then docker compose upd. Afterward, check compose status, the dashboard version, /health/readiness, and the tiny workflow. Common mistakes are skipping the deletion warning, exposing 5678, trusting a temporary snapshot, copying removed basic auth settings, or updating without a rollback. The secure deployment checklist is in the description. Check the referral link for the current eligible offer. The affiliate disclosure is there too. Subscribe for more step-by-step guides.